Okay, let's talk about the DCU. Remember back in January 2023 when James Gunn dropped that huge 10-project slate called Gods and Monsters? Man, it felt like this massive, bold new beginning was right around the corner. But, well, things have gotten a little complicated since then.
So the big question is, what actually happened to that plan? That's what we're going to do today. We are going to go through every single one of those 10 projects and figure out what actually saw the light of day, what's just kind of stuck in development limbo, and what might have just disappeared altogether. Let's really dig in and see where the DCU is at right now.
All right, to make this easy, we're going to break it down on what I'm calling a certainty spectrum. We'll start with the stuff that's actually out, then look at the projects stuck in that classic development maze, and finish up with the ones where, honestly, who knows what's going on with them.
So yeah, let's rewind a bit. January 2023, Gods and Monsters is announced as Chapter 1. This was supposed to be it, right? The official kickoff for a brand new, totally connected DC universe. After years of things feeling a little all over the place, this was sold as the master plan, the one cohesive vision to rule them all. So how much of that plan is actually, real? Let's start with the good news. We'll kick things off with the 4 projects that are either out in the world or are coming so soon we can almost touch them. These are the building blocks, the foundation of this new universe. And first up, right out of the gate, we got the animated show Creature Commandos. This was basically the soft launch for the whole new DCU, and man, it introduced us to some really weird, really cool, but definitely obscure characters.
Now here's the interesting thing. You might look at the viewership numbers and think, meh, but internally, it was seen as a success. See, its whole job was to plant seeds for what's coming later, and with a second season already confirmed, it looks like it did exactly what it needed to do, getting key players like Rick Flag Sr. onto the board for the future.
Then came the big one, the real cornerstone of this whole thing, Superman. It dropped last summer, and let's be real, it had the weight of the entire universe on its shoulders.
And look, did it absolutely demolish box office records? No. But what it did do was give the DCU something it needed more than anything else, a solid, stable foundation. After so much uncertainty, just getting a solid hit on the board was a massive win. But, the pressure's on now. The real test is what they build on top of that.
Which brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, hitting theaters this June, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And let me tell you, the expectations for this movie, they are huge. A lot is riding on this one for the future of the franchise. $500 million. That's the magic number. If Supergirl can cross that $500 million mark worldwide, you can bet DC Studios is going to call it a major success. It's the proof they need that this whole thing actually works, that it's financially sound and can stand on its own 2 feet. And you can see their strategy playing out right here. You've got Millie Alcock, who has some serious buzz around her performance as Supergirl, and then you bring in Jason Momoa as Lobo. I mean, that's just a genius move. You're pairing a breakout star with a bankable, fan-favorite character to pull in the biggest possible audience. It's all about hitting that big financial goal. All right, after that, in August, we're shifting to the small screen with the HBO series Lanterns. And this is a big deal. We're talking about one of DC's most well-known properties, and they are not skimping on the budget or the ambition for this show. But here's the thing with Lanterns. The fan reaction to the early stuff has been, let's say, very divided. So the big question is, can the story itself win people over? They've got top-tier talent like Tom King writing it, so the hype is definitely there. But this show has to pull in a way bigger audience than past DCU shows. Honestly, it's a huge test. Can a big, high-concept DC show actually kill it on streaming? Because let's face it, that's a field their biggest competitor has pretty much owned.
Okay, so that's the stuff we've seen or are about to see. Now let's step into the development maze. This is where things get tricky. We're talking about projects with huge names and awesome ideas attached, but no clear idea of when or even if they're going to get made.
And first up in the maze is one that I know a lot of people are excited for, Swamp Thing. This was announced as a straight-up horror film, and get this, written and directed by James Mangold, the guy who did Logan. I mean, come on, that's a perfect match. But there's always a but, right? James Mangold is also busy making a massive Star Wars movie, and that's his top priority right now. So when you do the math, the absolute earliest we're probably going to see Swamp Thing is 2030. Yeah, a 7-year wait from announcement to release is basically an eternity in the world of superhero movies.
Next up, the DCU's official Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold. I mean, it's Batman. It's a guaranteed blockbuster, and you better believe DC is dying to get this thing made.
So what's the holdup? Well, even with Batman, things are complicated. You've got director Andy Muschietti attached, which is great. But the studio absolutely cannot release this in the same year as Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2, which is set for 2027. So that pushes this new Batman movie to 2028 at the earliest. It really shines a light on the unique problem DC has, building their main connected universe while this other super successful separate Batman universe is also running. It's a tricky balancing act.
And that brings us to our last category, the projects that have basically gone dark. The ones where we've heard next to nothing. And honestly, the silence is starting to get a little deafening. It makes you wonder what DC's long-term priorities really are.
The Authority is the poster child for this. It's a classic high-risk, high-reward situation. James Gunn apparently loves these characters and it connects directly to the Superman movie. But nobody in the mainstream knows who they are, it needs a ginormous budget, and the word on the street is that development isn't going so well. What happens with this project is going to say a lot about what the DCU wants to be. Is it going to take big, weird swings or play it safe?
And it's the same story for Paradise Lost, that Wonder Woman prequel series, and Waller, the Amanda Waller show with Viola Davis. Both have just gone quiet. And it points to a real strategic problem, right? You want to get content out there to build hype. But if you release a bunch of spin-offs before you've even properly re-established heroes like Wonder Woman, you risk confusing everybody. It's a tough spot to be in.
So, okay, we've gone through all 10 of the original Gods and Monsters projects. We've seen the good, the delayed, and the mysterious. So what's the final verdict? What's the big takeaway from all this?
Well, here's the reality check. All this time after that huge announcement, only 40% of that original plan is something we can actually expect to see anytime soon. That means a whopping 60% is either stuck in a long development cycle or just floating out there in the unknown. And that puts an insane amount of pressure on the success of Supergirl and Lanterns. They're absolutely critical for what happens next.
Which, of course, leaves us with the billion-dollar question. After all the changes, all the delays, all the uncertainty, will this new DC universe finally be the one that sticks the landing? The foundation is being laid, sure, but piece by agonizing piece. And with so much of that original grand vision still up in the air, the future of the DCU is anything but certain.